ones I made reference to that include the 5.2 that is the special rule for this particular discussion. And these rules have been in existence for every AGM we've ever had. The agenda includes a general discussion on Bill of Rights 3.0. The Bill of Rights 3.0 discussion will be followed by a vote to determine the amount of support by members. So once the 20 minutes at the yes and no mics are done, after the 5 or perhaps 7 if they need to go that far, and I'll tell you why in a moment, we'll get to 20 minutes at the mics. This is also not the first time a general discussion on a policy item has occurred at an AGM outside the policy process. In fact, there's been at least one almost every year, including in 2019 when there was a series of policy items for discussion by members to determine the extent of their support. The Bill of Rights 3.0 discussion does not affect the member-led policy and governance process. This vote will not amend the bylaws, the policy declaration, or the governance manual. And that's why the board did not feel that this was something that needed to go through the regular policy process. If you look at the 22 freedoms identified within that document, a good chunk of those were actually accepted by you all last year as policy number 15. So that's why we made this decision, that because it doesn't affect any of our foundational documents, that we could go forward with this discussion. Okay, I think in terms of preamble, I just now want to provide to you the reading of the rationale that you'll see on the bottom of page 44, that the Board of Directors felt, based on the presentation by the Black Hats Group, that by incorporating ideas and concepts as freedoms and responsibilities within the Alberta Bill of Rights that have either been approved by our membership in the past or consistent with the statement of principles that guide us at a party, we are requesting that our membership recommend that our government prioritize many policies meaningful to Albertans within rules, policies, and/or legislation. The Alberta Bill of Rights is the core foundation of autonomy, freedom, and responsibility for all Albertans and needs to be revised. And we're very, very excited at the historical work that the government has done by bringing Bill 24 forward last Monday. The government has indicated that they are going to focus on this document, and may our policy be a foundation for them to understand what Albertans expect for their individual, family, and community well-being. By Alberta accepting these amendments to the Alberta Bill of Rights, it sets an example for other provinces to prosper within Confederation and clearly defines provincial and federal jurisdiction. The reason why the speakers on behalf of the Black Hats Group can have up to 7 minutes is because the government, based on our rules, or caucus, has ceded their 2 minutes. They are not prepared to speak either in support or against of this proposed Bill of Rights. At the meeting that was held with a number of caucus members, including Minister of Justice Mickey Amery on Thursday, a very, very strong level of understanding was agreed around the table, and we are excited now to bring this forward to you. And to speak to it, we'll have the experts, Scott Payne and Mitch Sylvestre. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Mitch and Scott. Your point of order is not accepted. I've identified... it's still not accepted. I have identified to you the reason why we are allowed to do this. It is within our rules. You do not have a basis for your point of order. You do not have... Pardon? You do not have a basis for your point of order. I have read to you the rules. Please, stop.
We'll just talk to the media about the name.
Go ahead. I think the media are here and it's basically a public gathering. Mitch and Scott, please.
Thank you, President Smith. Good afternoon, grassroots. I'm just going to talk to you about why we're here, how we got here, and what we're actually doing today. So what we are doing to simplify it is the 22 rights and freedoms that are listed in your program or on the cards. We're asking you to show the will of the grassroots, the members, to the government that you want a comprehensive Bill of Rights. So how we got here? 11 years ago, the federal police force, hired to be the provincial police force, rode in army boats and knocked down doors in High River. They took people's properties, did a lot of damage. It was a major breach of trust. It was followed during the pandemic with forced lockdowns and vaccine passports and mandates. There was a parking problem in Ottawa during a peaceful protest, and the federal government had to freeze bank accounts of supporters. The federal government continues with Bill C-21, red flag laws, Bill C-63, Online Harms Act, and then Bill 293, which I believe is at the Senate right now. It's basically their plan to take advantage of the next pandemic. It's not going to stop. So, how did we really get here? Well, a couple of years ago, a lady came out of the woods and she said sovereignty. And I don't think she was just talking about provincial rights. I think she was talking about sovereignty of our own bodies, sovereignty over our own families. So myself and seven other members of the United Conservative Party got together and we drafted Policy 15, which the Premier referenced in the accountability session. And the grassroots passed it last year. This is your policy getting into action. And we've seen this government has brought forward Bill 24 to start enacting that policy. All glory to God and all credit to Premier Smith. And to her government for following policy. Nobody in the free world, no leaders in the free world are doing this. Nobody's taking our God-given rights and affirming them in our legislation. So all power to them. The government, they tabled Bill 24 the other day. They're here because they want to hear from you. I've seen the MLAs and ministers walking around. They're getting lots of feedback. You can give even more feedback by saying we want a comprehensive Bill of Rights to protect ourselves against the current federal Liberal government and all levels of government that may do things that happened during the pandemic or may write unconstitutional bylaws as in Calgary or other cities. This is your opportunity to tell everybody, especially the government, what your will is, what you want. You want a comprehensive Bill of Rights to protect ourselves. So that these things I've mentioned happened in the last 11 years and more recently, that we don't face the same things again, or even worse, as I believe the federal Liberal government, NDP coalition government, has planned for us. I'd like to pass over to Mitch Sylvestre now. Thank you.
David! Thank you very much. Hey, what's happening? I think we have a problem when we have members in this room that don't want us to bring anything to the floor to the members for debate, regardless of what the reason is. So what's happening here? We have many people in this room. Why so many people? I think people, we're here to give government direction. We're here to participate in our democracy. Please come back next year and bring another person. Last night, the Agriculture Minister brought up Bill C-293. He said that the federal Liberals don't understand the consequences of what they're doing. I totally disagree with them. They totally understand. They totally understand Bill C-293. If you were not afraid before, you should be terrified now. They have been relentless in attacking Alberta industry, our jobs, our people, our rights, our freedoms, our families for years. C-293 is going to finish the job. We are one emergency away. The minister said, we will not allow them to do this. We will invoke the Sovereignty Act. He understands this too. He understands this as well. So I've been to 70 or more town halls since the spring. I hear frequently, what can I do? I have no voice. Today's your day. They are watching. Everyone is watching. Your vote will count today. This vote is a message. It's a message to caucus. It's a message to the Liberal government and to Canada. This vote is about your rights and freedoms. This vote will give government direction and the strong support they need to move forward. This vote is for a strong Alberta Bill of Rights, one that leaves no doubt in anyone's mind that we now have a robust document that will clearly define and allow us to protect our rights and freedoms now and in the future. Please vote yes.
Okay, perfect. Now, folks, I did just want to point out the reason why I did not agree with the point of order. And that's because Rules and Procedures Sections 511. The chair has the discretion to reject motions that he determines are unable to be addressed in light of the AGM format or seem likely to unduly delay the efficient progress of the AGM. Also, having identified already that we have the right to bring this forward, there is nothing that is violated within any of our foundational documents, which is something we've said all the way along. And they have done this all the way along with the input from our party's legal counsel. So some of you may not like the fact that it didn't go through the PPGC process. You're entitled to feel that way. But I would like to encourage the people at the No Mic to focus on the substantive elements of this Bill of Rights, because you are going to have the opportunity to vote on it, ladies and gentlemen. We're not going to stop that vote down. So, just wanted to say before we get to the 20 minutes that if you look at this document, the reason why we felt so strongly about bringing it to the membership is because if you look at the website, at our statement of principles, that starts off with a robust civil society made up of free individuals, strong families, and voluntary associations, and ends about 9, with protect and defend the ownership rights of Alberta to utilize its natural resources for the benefit of Albertans. We thought the work of these 3 constituency associations, perhaps referred to as the Black Hats Group, was completely consistent with the statement of principles of this party and its membership. So I'll follow along with the great work of our facilitators through the policy plenary, and we'll go to 30 seconds now, alternating between the yes and the no, and we will start with the no, as I think our good gentlemen do. So please, sir.
Raymond Chang, Calgary Ashmore. Bill of Rights should be sacred and flawless. Yet there are flaws in number 2, 3, and 18. They are attacks on democracy and freedoms. Number 2, support drug addicts in their right to pursue of happiness, get free drugs from the government. Number 3, infringes private property rights. Drag queen can perform exercising their freedom of expression at private church, at private school, in your private yard, and should no longer be censored. Number 18, if a business wants to start a fast food near Chinatown, having Chinese staff being more diversity, having handicapped kids flip burger, being more inclusive, not okay. No matter how bad this is, this should be their business decision and their choices. This is their business and none of our business.
Thank you, sir. Going now to the yes side.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Shawna, Sundal, and I'm the Executive Director of the Irreplaceable Parent Project. It was an honor to be asked by the Black Hats to contribute to number 4, which addresses parental rights. June 8th, 2023, Justin Trudeau, the Prime Minister of Canada, declared that parental rights are now a far-right political issue. I could not disagree more strongly.
I'm sorry, Shawna, I have to stop you. It's 30 seconds each. We'll go to the no. Oh, did I count wrong? Okay, I'm sorry. Perhaps I'm nervous. Shawna, please carry on.
Thank you. Parental rights are a basic and fundamental truth that should be embedded in the Alberta Bill of Rights because they are a principle that we should work from, addressing issues from that basis instead of withholding parental rights as a principle.
Good afternoon. My name is Don Lewis. I'm with Edmonton, Rutherford, and what I have to say I feel is very important. I'm 100% in support of an Alberta Bill of Rights. But the purpose of a Bill of Rights is to protect our unalienable rights. And those are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. And anything that's contained in our rights that may circumvent that is unacceptable. If we look at Section 1 of the Charter of Rights, they used that as a weapon. It was a booby trap within that charter that the federal government used. They lied, and
Sir,
they used to harm people. Well,
I'm sorry, your 30 seconds is lapsed. In fact, I gave you 40. Yes side?
Marty Mayer, Cypress Medicine Hat. In the late 1700s, British Prime Minister William Pitt said, "The poorest man may in his cottage bid defiance to all the forces of the crown. It may be frail, its roof may shake, the wind may blow through it. The rain may enter, but the King of England cannot enter. All his force dares not cross the threshold of the ruined cottage." Those are the kind of property rights we need. Vote yes.
Thank you, sir. Over to the no side, please.
Do not be misled. This will not stop a police officer from coming into your home and taking away your firearms. That's up to the federal government. This will not stop someone from using the notwithstanding clause or Section 1. That's up to the federal government. This government has proven its ability to use legislation and use other means within its power to protect our rights. This is not that document. This makes us stand out. It is not within our jurisdiction, and it sets us apart rather than us being a leader.
Thank you, sir. Yes.
Hi, Art Matsui, Calgary, Buffalo. I'm a third-generation Japanese Canadian who's had their rights taken away by 3 levels of government over the last 80 years. So I'm in favor of anything that protects or offers a comprehensive Bill of Rights. Now they have to remember over there that these are suggestions. This is policy. This is not legislation. They're talking about legislation, and we're talking about policy and suggestions for more rights for ourselves.
The no side, please.
Thank you. I support this almost entirely. My point of contention is saying that the government is recognizing our rights up until the point where the government decides to rescind them. I don't want a bill that requires us to vote for the right people. I want legislation that means that the people in charge are going to do the right thing regardless of what they want.
Thank you very much, sir. Over to the yes side, please.
LaVar Payne, former Member of Parliament, Cypress Medicine Hat. The whole question around this is, do you want more rights or do you not want more rights? This proposed policy is something that we have provided to the government as a suggestion, as a review of all of the policies over the last couple of years. So it's imperative that if you want more rights, vote yes for this, vote yes for our protected rights. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. On to the no side.
Kimberly Gucci, Strathcona, Sherwood Park. In my hand, I hold an AGM booklet where the first 42 pages were sent to party membership ranking prior to September 17th deadline, been vetted by committee and legal team, and presented properly to attendees with clearly indicated changes made to current policies. The proposed BOR 3.0 in this book is printed in 6-point font, without changes or anything that's been added, identified, without the opportunity for the entire membership to review it. And it's also being perceived that the CA boards are behind it. While I support the grassroots...
I'm sorry, I've given you 40 seconds. It's time for yes, please.
Ian Parkinson, Cyprus Medicine Hat. If all you want is to enjoy what you paid for, but no. If you want to keep and own what you paid for, vote yes. The Alberta Bill 24 is nothing but a limp-wristed whitewash panacea to make us go away. Tough shit. We're here.
Please, folks, I would ask that you use decent language when you're standing at the mics. Over to the no side, please.
Hi, my name's Laurel. I'm from the Drayton Valley area. First of all, it wasn't right that this got changed to a time right now when we have it on the back of this as the time was supposed to be at 1:30. We have a whole bunch of people that will not be involved with listening to what is going on right now. I want to reiterate unalienable rights that is not written in this Bill of Rights, and that means that it is God-given rights that is impossible to take away. Our human rights can be taken away at any point, as we've known in the last 4 years of what this government, Kenny government, and Trudeau government has done to the people. We need it written in here as unalienable rights, and we have no right to vote yes to something that needs to be changed now.
Thank you very much. Over to the yes side, please.
This is a complex issue. What is clear is that lawyers have different views on the implications. There are concerns about federal jurisdiction and whether the entire bill could be struck down if we delve outside of our jurisdiction. We could move the federal jurisdiction rights into a separate bill. This can be fixed after the vote, but the fact remains we need stronger wording for the tabled bill. We need the notwithstanding clause, or else the courts can overrule the entire bill with their own exclusions. By defining the exclusions, we limit their power. The federal charter applies to the courts, but this Bill of Rights is different. It applies only to politicians accountable to the people, and they must debate in an open and democratic process, not the courts. However, the wording is too vague and would still allow corrupt politicians to abuse our rights.
I'm sorry, ma'am, I have to cut you off. I gave you 42 seconds. I apologize. No side, please.
Gord Tahl, Red Deer South. The Constitution and the Bill of Rights are foundational documents in our democracy. It needs to be a strong, long-term, deliberative process with a high threshold of approval. This attempt, this jam down, makes Meech Lake look like a deliberative process. Bill 24 should not happen either. This should be a long, multi-term consultative process where we create the best Bill of Rights in the world, not just a Bill of Rights. The way we're doing it now, we're setting a precedent, so when the NDP does get in power at some point, they just pass their own Bill of Rights and wipe all of this off the floor. We need to do this in a much more responsible manner for our kids, our grandkids, and our great-great-great-grandkids. Do not vote for this process. Thank you.
Can we go to the yes side, please?
Nathan Stankey, Central Beauconic. I don't believe this is a perfect document, but it is a very good document. And make no mistake, the government has also introduced an imperfect version of the Bill of Rights. But this version boldly asserts that we, as citizens, have certain inalienable rights that belong to us, not to government, to be doled out with, quote, reasonable limits. Given the choice, I will always err on the side of maximal liberty and the protection of our rights. I am voting yes to demonstrate to the government that we need more of what the Black Cats suggest, not less. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Going over then now to the no side, please.
John Niver, Edmonton McClung. The Alberta Rights is freedoms and responsibilities, and that's the word responsibilities that catches my attention. Every right and freedom we have, enjoy, is based on responsibilities. We have no rights without responsibilities. And whether responsibilities are ready for, when we are responsible, our rights and freedoms are enhanced and protected. If you're responsible and you've done right, nobody can take it away. Somebody might stop it, but it covers all levels of government and every entity. So think about, all I will ask for is advancing the fact that we have responsibilities added to the Bill of Rights. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Go over to the yes side, please.
Thank you. Darrell Prue from Peace River. I just want to say our board did vote in support of this draft Alberta Bill of Rights already, so I'm just here to reaffirm the will of my board that we support this in its entirety. And the other thing I want to say is, like, it's already policy that we discussed in 2022, policy 15. So we've already said we want this. Here it is laid out. Let's do it. Thank you.
The no side, please.
Adam Beauconic, Innisfil, Sylvan Lake. Folks, it comes down to this one simple principle. There is simply nothing less conservative than changing bills of rights that have held our province and our country together for decades. And the idea that you're somehow going to fix any violations that have happened over the last few years by adding a few poorly written lines to them is ridiculous. Please vote no to this motion. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Yes, sir, please.
So this Bill of Rights is not perfect, but it's a great start. We do not need government to tell us what our rights are because they limit our rights. This is a true demonstration of human rights where it comes from the people. It's not perfect. I do want stronger language, but we need to start somewhere and we can build on this. And I just want to point, I know I'm running out of time, but I want to point to section 15 on freedom of informed consent. I would even go stronger than that and say freedom from discrimination for saying no to mandated medical treatments. There's also a section here demanding public inquiry. We need to do that, and this Bill of Rights is going to make that happen. Thank you.
On the no mic, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Sebring from Ponoka. Thank you to the Black Hat Committee for all the work on this. There's some good stuff here, but there's some stuff we really need to work on some more. I just draw your attention, for example, to Clause 17, freedom from excessive taxation. For different people in this room, that means different things. I know we have libertarians who say all taxation is theft. Others have a more nuanced perspective, if we can put it that way. So please, I'm not saying vote no, but I'm saying this needs more work. Thank you.
Thank you very much. To the yes mic, please.
Quite frankly, I don't know which mic I should be at. This is a little bit confusing, the format. I certainly stand behind the Bill of Rights that the Black Hats have put together. I have a few problems with what the UCP has put forward. One of my problems is the term demonstrably justified. I know what I think of that. I know what the Honourable Brian Peckford thinks of that. But I also know what our beloved Justin Trudeau thinks of that, and the federal courts have already ignored that term. So we need to bring some sort of definition or hoax test into this Bill of Rights if the UCP is going to.
Thank you very much. We'll have one more comment from each, the no and the yes side. Our final no comment, please.
Yeah, Chris Babaluk, Edmonton West 10-Day. I'm a lawyer. I believe we should all be seeking to protect our legal rights. But there's a reason in our policy submissions we submit things like the government should, rather than attempting to rewrite actual legislation like what's been done here, because the Bill of Rights is in the law. And the way this is written is bad. Simply put, as much as Danielle Smith and Mickey Amory might want to, they can't give you criminal rights. Constitutionally, that's federal. And when you look at what this has to say about healthcare, that would immediately be used to attack all the transgender legislation that we clapped for Danielle passing this morning. I mean, this isn't well thought out.
I've given you 45 seconds, sir. I'm sorry. Thank you to all of our no's. Our final yes comment, please.
Good afternoon. My name's Darrell Komick. I'm from Calgary Lougheed. I just want to say that which of us conservatives wants to give away more rights? Should we not want to collect rights like hockey cards? Because you never really know the value of the hockey card until that moment in time which you need it. I'd encourage everyone who's a conservative to accumulate as many rights as possible by voting yes.
All right. Thank you very much to all of our yes votes. So at this point, if you guys would get your voting cards ready, please, like you used yesterday, and you'll be using again in just 50 minutes time or so. I will reread the motion to you one more time. Motion by our two speakers prior, Scott Payne, Brooks, Medicine Hat, and Medicine Hat Cypress, and seconded by Mitch Sylvestre, Bonnyville, Cold Lake, St. Paul. Be it resolved that the United Conservative Party of Alberta endorses, approves, and supports, in principle, the Alberta Bill of Rights, Freedoms, and Responsibilities as distributed to our membership titled BOR 3.0 as part of our annual general meeting information and printed in the UCP AGM 2024 agenda. This proposal represents the work of UCP members known as the Black Hats Group and is supported by the Provincial UCP Board of Directors and multiple Alberta constituency associations. The UCP believes that the Government of Alberta should adopt these suggested amendments, additions, and ideas into the Bill of Rights. Would all of those who support the Bill of Rights please raise your yes vote or your green card? Thank you. Would all of you in opposition to the motion please raise your no votes? Ladies and gentlemen, the motion passes. Okay, folks, it's time to eat, and not each other. For those of you who have pre-purchased lunch, indicated by a red line on your badge, it's the red line right here near the top. Please make your way to the two halls behind us, near Alta, and then into the Prairie Pavilions, where volunteers will be checking